So how are you doing? How are things with the Harvest Institute?
Yeah, but right now we're back in the courts, back in the appellate court again. I got to get into the fundraising more because every during month I get these legal bills from these lawyers. You know, every time I
Mm.
look around, there's a bill from them for they have to file appeals, pay court costs, and all those various kind of costs, Dr. Watkins. So it's a pain, but I'm still fighting it though. I've been fighting in the courts now for 10 years in the court itself, but I took up these issues for black folk back about 1970, so that's 30 some years. But I finally worked my way up to the appellate court, which is right beneath the Supreme Court. So they owe black folk this money for reparations and based on the 1866 Indian Treaty, which specified that in the future that all free blacks, all black Indians, and all black freedmen are to be treated in all manners similar to so-called white Indians. And 92% of all the Indians in the country that are passing for Indians, they're really just whites passing for Indians that got their name on the Dawes Rolls back in 1896. But then black folks should be treated in all manners and entitled to all kind of benefits. They got a new rule saying that black folk can only benefit, and was approved by the government, saying that they must be able to prove to whites or to the government that they got at least 25% Indian blood. It's called a blood quantum law. Everybody coming to this country is classified as whites except black folk. Racism is an issue between white and black. 3 months ago, a courts approved the fact that black folk were entitled to be treated in all manners similar to Indians. This was a recent court ruling at a lower level court. And so now I filed a suit back again. They got to go back to the appeal court again. And so we still got a big fight coming up this spring. I want everything that's black, that's walking and talking, to be there, to fill the courtrooms, to fill the outside of the courts, to say and demand that they be getting their resources and benefits as they were entitled to.
Interesting. So tell me this, and I have an idea what the answer is, but I'd like to get your context
Okay.
as an expert, on history and economics and everything. Why is it that most black folks don't know this stuff?
White Congressman Steve Corn out of Memphis, Tennessee. He said, Dr. Anderson, your people should have gotten this a long time ago. What's wrong with them? Why don't they fight? Congressional representative from West Virginia, he said the same thing. Another from Kentucky. 3 or 4 white congressmen says, your problem is that your people don't support it. Congressman Maxine Waters, he says, come in and do a PowerPoint presentation. She says, you've been fighting for this for 40 years. Black folk entitled these funds. But that's what happened. I go up there, John Conyers and all the black congressmen, they run and hide in the bathroom.
Wow. Well, you know what I'm going to do is, Dr. Anderson, first of all, I want to tell you this. As soon as you find out the date and the time, the location, make sure I know this. And I'm going to scream it from the rooftops every day. I'm going to put it everywhere. I'm going to tell everybody I know. And I'm going to show up myself because, you know how I feel about what you're doing. I think it's heroic. The other thing I want to ask you about this is this. I want everybody, please pay attention. Please hear, what's being said here. Harvestinstitute.org. That's harvestinstitute.org. That's where they can make a donation, right?
That's right, through the PayPal.
Okay, so you can make a donation through the PayPal at harvestinstitute.org, not .com, harvestinstitute.org. Please type that in. Please share it on your social media. Please tell everybody you know, because this is probably the most worthy cause that's happening anywhere in our community that I can think of right now.
Typically, I might get bills almost every month from lawyers to pay for the legal fees, for legal research, for filing court costs, for papers, for sex stenographers, typing. And just off the record, I've spent over $150,000 in the last year just in legal fees. Okay, a lot of you are very prominent blacks. They support me in spirit, and emotionally. They cannot commit themselves to doing anything for black folk because most of the blacks that got money in the upper class, the whites control their money. They control the accounting. They do the accounting and the managing. And they've all told most of them, if you do anything that's identifiably black, that they will shut you off and cut you off. You talk about billions and billions and billions of refunds for black folk labor that was unpaid for about 360 years and about another 100 years of Jim Crow segregation. And I went to try to raise money for a Harvest Institute, Xerox, Pepsi, Xerox, Coca-Cola, and a couple of fast food restaurants, Sunoco Oil. And they finally told me, said, Dr. Anderson, you got to understand, we cannot give any money directly to black folk. They said that we'll give it to your Harvest Institute if you make one change in your program. I said, what's that change? They said, if you take the focus off of black folk, Dr. Watkins, and put it on minority, women, children, and immigrants, we'll give you money annually. And I said, I found that to be insulting. And our people always talk about they got constitutional rights. You don't have any constitutional rights. The Constitution defined blacks specifically as being 3/5 of a human property and no humanity equal to a field animal.
Wolf. I hope y'all are hearing this. I mean, I hope everybody that's watching is hearing, you know, what he's saying. And he's one of the few people. This is why I respect him. I want everybody to know this. This is why I love talking to this man, is because he's one of the few black folks that has no problem saying, let's talk about black people first. Let's put black people first. We can still do stuff with everybody else. We still connect on some level, but you have to have a core. You have to have a base. Words mean something, but it means a lot more when you write a check. You got to put your money where your mouth is. And so I know I'm going to do that. I'm going to give thousands of dollars to the Harvest Institute. I have made business deals with Dr. Anderson. This year on the tour, Dr. Anderson's agreed to join the tour. He's going to do Powernomics certifications in different cities where you can get certified in Powernomics. The black business schools behind this, we're going to give thousands of dollars to this, but we can't do it ourselves. But I do know this. I do know, as a community, if all of us just go to harvestinstitute.org and just do our part, that all these legal bills will be covered. I mean, you can't argue against the merits of the lawsuit. You can't argue against what the man's trying to do. Just go to harvestinstitute.org, and here's what I want you to do. Just think about it like this. I'm not telling anybody to do anything. This is my suggestion. Think about the movie that you just saw, the Black Panther. Great movie. Everybody loves it. Ain't nothing wrong with going to enjoy that movie. In your mind, try to think to yourself, how much did I spend that night going to see the Black Panther? How much did I spend on my movie ticket, on the popcorn and the drinks, and going out to dinner, taking my kids, you know, all of that, and add that total up in your head. And go to harvestinstitute.org and make a donation to the reparations lawsuit that matches or exceeds the amount that you gave to Disney when you went to go see Black Panther. That's where it can start. It ain't gonna set nobody back. It probably won't cost you more than getting your hair done or getting a new pair of shoes, but it'll make a huge difference if all of us come together and do this together. And I'm gonna be right there with you. I'm gonna be right out front. Now, Dr. Anderson, I want to go back and kind of ask you a question that's kind of related to this. Now, have you been following all the buzz about the Black Panther movie and everything else that's been going on?
Yeah, I heard about it. As a matter of fact, members of my family went to see it. And as you indicated a few minutes ago, it's a fine movie. It's a fine opportunity. It's an advancement for black folk in the film industry. But I operated a little bit above that. My interest is a little higher than that. See, my interest is more about things that are quantitative, that are measurable. See, what I want black achievements, I want black to have are things you can go to the bank, you can count, you can measure. And see, and if you keep placing all your emphasis on some form of entertainment, you're taking me back in history. See, the safest blacks in this nation were established. A parameter was established for them, Boykins, way back during slavery, where white folks says that the safest black is an entertaining black. So on the plantations, every Saturday night, what white folk would do, they would invite all the slaves. This was typical in every plantation. They would invite every slave up to the White House, up to the mansion, and they would serve them iced tea and lemonade. Every black then was either, if you find entertainment, they either chasing a football, basketball, tennis ball, golf ball, bowling ball, singing, dancing, telling jokes, pretending they're having a ball. And see, and that is a safe black. They said entertaining black is 100 times safer than a birth control pill. Okay? 99% of them would be strictly entertaining. And see, that's what makes you different. See, you're trying to your best. That's why I admire you and respect you as a friend and a professional person. You're saying, get out of that. You should be successful other than being an entertainer. That's the only thing that white folk would approve. And blacks know that. A lot of them right now, they're giving in to the realities of racism. They just really don't care anymore. See, slavery should not have lasted more than 3 weeks to a month if black folk had the appropriate attitude to say, hey, I'm just not going to do it. You can kill me if you want to, and you better do it well, because if you don't, I'm going to kill you, your wife, your children, and your dog, and take them all with me when I leave here. But see, but black folks said, no, you know what? I'm just going to go get along. God will make a way. Things will work out. And see, but there's rule in social economics which says it's impossible to enslave a people, mistreat the people for 500 years if they say, I'll die first and take you with me. It can't be done. And so and black folk right now, they place more importance on being alive than on the quality of their life. They'll sit outside on a curb, drinking beer with beer cans, garbage around them, weeds growing as tall as I am, broken down fence, abandoned housing and smoking marijuana. But they said, I'm still alive. They don't care about the quality of how they live.
In case you don't know who I'm talking to, I'm speaking to Dr. Claud Anderson. Dr. Anderson is a brilliant man. He's the author of the books Powernomics and Black Labor, White Wealth. If you guys want to get a copy of those books, actually, you can go to the URL we set up was blacklaborwhitewealth.com. Just like with Tariq Nasheed, we're one of the distributors of the books. And so you can go to blacklaborwhitewealth.com. You can find that book in Powernomics as well as other books we recommend. I brought in some students from the Black Business School that I told them they were really excited that you would be joining us. And they actually have some questions for you. Is that okay if I ask you some questions?
And let them know I'm delighted to be with Dr. Watkins. I respect him and appreciate him both professionally and as a friend. He's a very bright, confident man, and particularly in economics. If you want some individual advice about economics and financing, please go to Dr. Watkins and ask him and follow his advice. Always follow him. Don't follow me. This is his program. He's got the advice. He's got the experience. He's got the training. He's got the commitment. He understands the issues I'm promoting. So follow him.
All right. Well, it is funny because when they ask me, I'm gonna say follow him. So I guess it's a good partnership, and everybody who just kind of wants to know how all this came about, it's because one thing I've learned is that conflict and war is very destructive, whereas cooperation is very productive.
I wish that we'd had the money, because right now the Harvest Institute has been like a two-man band, just me and my son, and we've been doing it for 25 years. Doing everything ourselves because we don't have the money. I would love to have enough money to have hired a staff. Our budget last year ran about our total sum operating expenses, I'm gonna make this public, was only $35,000.
Well, you know what? It ain't a two-man band no more. Now your band's gonna have about 30,000 people in it, because I know the people that are part of the Black Business School. We got 57,000 students in the Black Business School, and growing every month. We get 1,000 to 2,000 more students in the Black Business School, and they know how we feel about what you're doing. And you ain't gonna fight this alone. Everybody in here, I hope that you're hearing this. I hope you're connecting to this psychologically and emotionally. Everybody, please just pull our weight a little bit. We lifted the Black Panther up to become the greatest movie in history with hundreds of millions of dollars. We can do the same thing on this very important movement. So the website is harvestinstitute.org. Everybody, please go make a donation so that we can fund this staff. I'm gonna personally make sure the Black Business School puts tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars into that institute, so there will be a staff. And I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna do everything in my power to make sure that we're fully supporting this. So thank you again, Dr. Anderson, and thank you everybody for hanging out with us today. Dr. Anderson will be coming back into the Black Business School every week. I'm also bringing other people. I'll bring in Tariq Nasheed again so he can talk a little bit about becoming an independent filmmaker. I'm going to try to get David Banner to come in, and some other people that know a few things that can be helpful to you, because we have to elevate our own heroes. If you want to know why people like these are not being presented to you in public school systems, it's because what they're talking about isn't palatable for a racist infrastructure. So we must develop our own infrastructure, and that's what this is all about. So thanks a lot, Dr. Anderson.
And I thank you, Boyce, and also tell your students that, just because it might be a hidden little question in the back of their mind, is that never in 25 years of the Harvest Institute existence have I either drawn a salary, or my wife. We never drawn a penny in salary for 25 years. So don't worry about I'm trying to rip them off or do anything, okay?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I think you deserve a salary of $1 million a year, because this work, nobody else is doing this. Ain't nobody else out here doing this stuff, and so us sticking together, to me, is going to change the shape of Black history. I really believe that. And I'm gonna die making this happen. I'm gonna do this till the death, and I know you will, and everybody. And I know we got people in here that feel the same way. So don't you worry about a thing. We got your back 100%, sir. 100%.
And I love you and your class, and you're a good man and a smart man and a courageous man. To be anybody who goes out and try to fight for Black folk, got to have a lot of backbone and a lot of balls. Okay.
Woo! and thick skin too. But it's all right. I'm ready for the fight. I'm ready.